The Landman Season 3 trailer doesn't just tease what's next, it warns us. From the very first moments, it's clear the season isn't about survival anymore. It's about consequences. Every choice Tommy made in Season 2 is now circling back, and the trailer makes one thing painfully obvious. Freedom was never free. What looks like a fresh start is actually the most dangerous position Tommy has ever put himself in, and Season 3 is ready to collect the debt. The trailer opens with a tone that feels heavier than anything we've seen before, and that alone tells us Season 3 is playing a very different game. There's no celebration of CTT Oil, no victory laps. Instead, everything feels uneasy, almost fragile, like one wrong move could bring the entire operation crashing down. Tommy's voice carries that familiar confidence, but it's quieter now, more careful. He isn't chasing power anymore, he's protecting what he built, and that shift matters. For the first time, Tommy isn't working for someone else's dream. This company has his name on it, his son's name on it, and that makes every risk personal in a way it never was before. The trailer lingers on small moments. Looks exchanged, pauses before answers, conversations that feel unfinished, and it all reinforces the same idea. This season is about pressure, not loud chaos, but slow, crushing weight. We see Cooper stepping into his role as president, and the trailer makes it clear he's not just a title figure. He's being tested early, decisions are being put in front of him that don't come with clean outcomes, and the tension between him and Tommy feels different now. It's no longer father versus son, it's leadership versus instinct. Cooper still has that natural oil sense that once felt like a gift, but the trailer hints that this ability may once again put a target on his back. The danger around him hasn't disappeared, it's evolved, and Tommy knows it. You can see it in the way he watches Cooper, like a man who understands that building a future for his son might also be what destroys him. Galino's presence hangs over every frame, even when he's not on screen. The trailer never lets us forget that this partnership was never built on trust. That warning he gave Tommy at the end of Season 2 echoes here louder than ever. Failure has consequences, and Season 3 looks ready to define exactly what that means. Galino isn't rushing, he's waiting, and that patience makes him more dangerous than before. The trailer suggests that the deal tying Cooper's land to Galino isn't just a business arrangement, it's leverage, and leverage is power. The more CTT Oil grows, the tighter that grip seems to become. At the same time, the outside world hasn't stopped watching. The trailer hints that major players are circling again, drawn by what Tommy is building and by what he's willing to risk. There's a sense that every move CTT makes is being measured, documented, and quietly judged. This isn't the scrappy underdog story anymore. This is visibility, and visibility brings enemies. Tommy once said jumping onto someone else's ship wasn't the problem, like ownership was. But Season 3 asks a much darker question. What does ownership cost when everyone wants a piece of what you've built? By the end of the trailer's first stretch, the message is clear. Season 3 isn't about whether Tommy can succeed, it's about whether success will destroy him first. The calm moments feel temporary, the silence feels loaded, and that weary happiness Billy Bob Thornton talked about, it's still there. But now it feels like the quiet before something breaks. What makes the Season 3 trailer so effective is how little it actually explains while still telling us everything. The focus shifts from the creation of CTT Oil to the cracks already forming beneath it. This is no longer a story about starting over, it's about how long a fresh start can survive once reality shows up. The trailer makes it clear that CTT isn't being built in peace. It's being built under surveillance. Every conversation feels watched. Every deal feels temporary. And the tension comes from the fact that Tommy knows this. He isn't naive anymore. He's cautious, almost paranoid, and for good reason. One of the strongest undercurrents in the trailer is Tommy's isolation. Even though he's surrounded by people he trusts, the weight of leadership sits squarely on him. There's a moment where he's alone looking out over the land, and it feels familiar, but heavier than before. In earlier seasons, loneliness was something Tommy carried quietly. In Season 3, it looks like it's becoming a liability. He's not just responsible for himself anymore. Every decision now affects Cooper, TL, Nate, Rebecca, Ariana, and everyone who took a chance on CTT. And the trailer leans into that pressure hard. You can feel it in the pauses between his words, in the way he listens more than he talks. This isn't a man chasing ambition. This is a man trying to hold a fragile system together. Rebecca's role also feels far more central this season. The trailer frames her less as a crisis fixer and more as a strategic force. Legal threats are no longer reactive, they're anticipated. And that alone tells us season 3 is going to be smarter, colder, and more calculated. The risks facing CTT don't come from one dramatic explosion, they come from paperwork, from loopholes, from enemies who know how to apply pressure slowly. Rebecca understands that, and the trailer suggests she might be the one standing between the company and complete collapse. But even she seems unsettled, which says a lot. If Rebecca looks concerned, it means something serious is coming. Cooper's arc takes on a darker tone as well. The trailer hints that the events of season 2 didn't just leave scars. They changed him. There's a maturity there now, but also hesitation. Leadership doesn't come naturally when guilt is involved, and it feels like Cooper is still carrying the weight of what happened with Ariana and the man who died. That trauma hasn't disappeared, it's just been buried under responsibility, and buried things have a way of resurfacing at the worst possible time. The trailer subtly suggests that Cooper's emotional state could influence his decisions, which is dangerous when millions of dollars and powerful enemies are involved. Ariana's presence is quieter but meaningful. She's not framed as a victim anymore. She's framed as someone trying to rebuild. But the trailer doesn't let us forget that healing isn't linear. There's tension in her scenes, a sense that stability is something she wants but doesn't fully trust yet. Being part of CTT gives her purpose, but it also keeps her close to the trauma that brought her there. Season 3 seems ready to explore how personal pain and professional loyalty collide, and whether working together can actually help people move forward or trap them in the past. And then there is the world outside CTT, which feels more hostile than ever. The trailer drops hints about regulatory pressure, political interests, and competitors who don't play by the same rules. This isn't just oil anymore, it's influence. Whoever controls these fields controls leverage, and leverage attracts dangerous attention. The offshore rig storyline with Newsom still looms large, unresolved, and ignored only because bigger fires are burning. But unresolved problems don't disappear, they wait. And the trailer makes it clear that season 3 is built on waiting threats, not immediate explosions. By the end of this section of the trailer, the excitement comes from discomfort. Nothing feels settled, nothing feels safe. CTT Oil exists, yes, but it exists on borrowed time. The trailer doesn't ask whether Tommy can win, it asks whether winning even looks the same once you realize what you're up against. And that question hangs in the air long after the trailer ends, which is exactly why it works so well. What truly elevates the season 3 trailer is how it reframes power. In earlier seasons, power was loud. It came from titles, contracts, money, and who sat at the head of the table. This trailer strips all of that away and replaces it with something far more unsettling: uncertainty. Tommy may finally own something, but ownership hasn't brought him control. If anything, it's made him more vulnerable than ever. The trailer repeatedly puts him in moments where answers are delayed, where silence replaces reassurance, and where the people across the table are clearly holding cards he can't see. That imbalance is where season 3 seems ready to live. There's a noticeable shift in how business conversations are framed. They're slower, more measured, and filled with unspoken tension. No one raises their voice, no one makes threats out loud. But the danger is obvious. This is a season where a polite smile can mean ruin, and the trailer understands that perfectly. Every handshake feels conditional, every agreement feels temporary, and Tommy, for all his experience, looks like a man who knows the rules have changed but hasn't fully figured out how to play by them yet. The trailer also leans heavily into the idea that CTT Oil is disrupting something much bigger than it realizes. It's not just another company entering the field, it's a wild card. And wild cards make powerful people nervous. There's a strong implication that forces far beyond Galeno are taking notice now. These aren't emotional enemies driven by grudges. These are calculated players who don't care about Tommy's past, his family, or his intentions. They care about control. And the trailer suggests that once those kinds of players get involved, the game becomes less about profit and more about elimination. TL's role becomes more interesting in this context. The trailer frames him as steady, experienced, and deeply loyal, but even he seems aware that drilling isn't the biggest challenge anymore. It's politics, it's timing, it's knowing when not to push. TL has always been grounded in the physical reality of the oil field, and Season 3 looks ready to test whether that kind of honesty can survive in a world built on manipulation. There's a quiet concern in his demeanor that wasn't there before, as if he understands that no amount of technical skill can protect them from what's coming. Nate's presence reinforces that idea even further. Having walked away from M-Techs, he's no longer hiding behind corporate insulation. Every financial move now has consequences that land directly on the people he cares about. The trailer hints at tough calls, compromises, and numbers that don't quite add up unless someone is willing to bend. And bending, in this world, always comes with a price. Nate looks torn between protecting the company and protecting the people inside it, and Season 3 seems ready to force him to choose. Galeno, meanwhile, remains the most unpredictable element. The trailer gives him very little screen time, but that restraint is intentional. His power doesn't come from presence, it comes from inevitability. He doesn't need to chase outcomes, he waits for them. And the more CTT grows, the more it feels like it's growing inside a trap that was set long before Tommy ever signed that deal. Galeno's warning about consequences wasn't a threat, it was a fact. And Season 3 looks ready to explore what happens when those facts come due. What's most compelling, though, is how the trailer treats hope. It doesn't remove it completely, instead it makes hope dangerous. The moments where the crew comes together, where plans are laid out and optimism briefly surfaces, feel earned, but fragile. The trailer makes it clear that believing things will work out might be the riskiest move of all, because hope leads to attachment, and attachment creates leverage. And leverage in this world is everything. By the end of the trailer's middle stretch, the excitement isn't just about what will happen next, it's about how badly it could go wrong. Season 3 isn't positioning itself as a rise or a fall, it's positioning itself as a test of loyalty, patience, and whether starting your own ship really saves you from the storm or just guarantees you'll face it head on. The trailer makes one thing unmistakably clear. Season 3 of Landman isn't just a continuation, it's an escalation. Every relationship, every alliance, and every past decision is being tested against far higher stakes than before. Tommy's attempts to protect his crew and his family are constantly complicated by external pressures, and the trailer cleverly shows that safety is an illusion. Every conversation, every deal, every interaction feels like it could explode at any moment, and it's this tension that makes the trailer so thrilling. Unlike previous seasons where the conflict often came from visible confrontations or corporate betrayals, Season 3 appears to rely on psychological warfare, careful maneuvering, and subtle power plays that feel much more dangerous precisely because they are unpredictable. Tommy's ability to read situations and anticipate threats will be tested more rigorously than ever, and the trailer makes us feel the weight of that challenge in every scene. One of the most fascinating aspects highlighted in the trailer is the evolving dynamics between Tommy and Cooper. Their relationship, which previously balanced mentorship, family loyalty, and shared ambition, now carries a darker complexity. Cooper is no longer simply the inexperienced heir learning from his father. He's actively making decisions that carry consequences for the entire company, and the trailer emphasizes the tension this creates. There are brief, almost fleeting moments where Cooper questions Tommy's judgment or hesitates under pressure, and these moments are enough to suggest that father and son may find themselves at odds. The trailer subtly communicates that Cooper's instinctive talent for oil, once seen as a gift, may now bring more danger than opportunity. It's a brilliant way to keep viewers on edge. We know he has potential, but every success comes with risk, and the trailer makes it clear that the cost of failure could be catastrophic. Ariana's role is equally compelling. The trailer paints her as someone who has survived trauma but has not escaped its long-term effects. She isn't portrayed as a victim, but as a character navigating a world where danger and responsibility constantly intersect. There's a tension in her interactions that suggests her emotional recovery will be tested alongside the company's survival. She's not just a supporting character, she's a linchpin in the larger narrative, and the trailer frames her as someone whose choices could influence the fate of everyone around her. Her loyalty, her courage, and her resilience are all on display, but the trailer hints that even the strongest characters have vulnerabilities that can be exploited. Galeno remains the ever-present shadow over Tommy's life and decisions. Even with limited screen time, his influence dominates the trailer, reminding us that his patience and strategic foresight make him one of the most dangerous figures in the Landman universe. He doesn't need to act openly to maintain power. The mere suggestion of his presence is enough to shift the behavior of every character on screen. This is a season where consequences are inevitable, and the trailer frames Galeno as the ultimate measure of those consequences. His warnings about failure aren't idle threats, they're guarantees. The trailer creates suspense by showing how Tommy and his team will have to navigate this environment, suggesting that any misstep, however small, could trigger catastrophic results. Another significant layer in the trailer is the depiction of external pressures from the broader industry and regulatory environment. Tommy's past success has made him visible, and visibility, as the trailer shows, is both a weapon and a target. Rivals, regulators, and even potential allies are watching closely, waiting for a slip-up. The trailer implies that while Tommy and CTT Oil may have built a strong foundation, that foundation is under constant scrutiny. Every business decision carries risk, and every miscalculation could unravel years of hard work. The trailer brilliantly uses this tension to emphasize that Season 3 isn't about immediate explosions or dramatic showdowns, it's about the slow, creeping pressure that comes from being constantly observed, judged, and challenged. Finally, the trailer closes this section by reminding viewers that Season 3 is also about moral stakes. It's not just wealth, power, or control that Tommy and his team are fighting for. It's identity, legacy, and survival. The trailer's pacing highlights moments of reflection, uncertainty, and careful calculation, making it clear that no one is immune to the pressure. Everyone in the crew, from Tommy to Nate, TL, Rebecca, Ariana, and Cooper, is being forced to confront who they are, what they're willing to risk, and how far they're willing to go to protect what they've built. This combination of personal stakes, corporate tension, and looming external threats makes the trailer thrilling because it isn't just setting up plot points, it's setting up questions that will keep the audience guessing for the entire season. Every glance, every pause, and every line in the trailer carries weight, and the suspense it builds is exactly what makes Landman Season 3 feel like it's entering a higher, more dangerous league. The trailer manages to capture a sense of inevitability without showing the outcomes. We know Tommy will face challenges, we know Cooper will be tested, and we know Galeno's shadow is longer than ever. But the brilliance of the trailer lies in its restraint. It teases, it hints, and it provokes thought without giving answers. Every beat suggests that survival won't be easy, and that the line between success and disaster is thinner than ever before. For the audience, this isn't just hype, it's an invitation to engage, analyze, and anticipate, which is why the trailer has generated so much excitement and speculation. Season 3 promises complexity, tension, and high stakes, and the trailer makes it clear that Landman has evolved into a show where danger is constant, choices are critical, and even the smallest misstep can have monumental consequences. The Landman Season 3 trailer doesn't just tease what's next, it warns us. From the very first moments, it's clear the season isn't about survival anymore. It's about consequences. Every choice Tommy made in Season 2 is now circling back, and the trailer makes one thing painfully obvious. Freedom was never free. What looks like a fresh start is actually the most dangerous position Tommy has ever put himself in, and Season 3 is ready to collect the debt. The trailer opens with a tone that feels heavier than anything we've seen before, and that alone tells us Season 3 is playing a very different game. There's no celebration of CTT Oil, no victory laps. Instead, everything feels uneasy, almost fragile, like one wrong move could bring the entire operation crashing down. Tommy's voice carries that familiar confidence, but it's quieter now, more careful. He isn't chasing power anymore, he's protecting what he built, and that shift matters. For the first time, Tommy isn't working for someone else's dream. This company has his name on it, his son's name on it, and that makes every risk personal in a way it never was before. The trailer lingers on small moments. Looks exchanged, pauses before answers, conversations that feel unfinished, and it all reinforces the same idea. This season is about pressure, not loud chaos, but slow, crushing weight. We see Cooper stepping into his role as president, and the trailer makes it clear he's not just a title figure. He's being tested early. Decisions are being put in front of him that don't